You may recognize the name Holiday Sidewinder, or you may not recognize her name at all. She's an Australian artist, an Australian pop artist who has been affiliated with artists such as Kieran J. Callanan and Alex Cameron. Generally a live performer with those artists and plenty of other artists too, including The Killers, which is actually a pretty big name for an artist who's relatively unknown. As well as touring though, she has contributed vocals to quite a few songs from Alex Cameron and Kieran J. Callanan, and she was definitely not a name I was fully aware of up until I heard about this album. And I remember in my Miami Memory review earlier in the year, which you may remember was a bit of a disappointment for me personally, found it pretty mediocre, but I did say on some of the tracks there were good contributions from a female vocalist that I didn't know the name of and I wasn't aware who it was. It's her, it's Holiday. It was her all along, and she ended up coming through with an even better album than Alex did earlier in the year, to be honest. Forever or Whatever is genuinely one of my favourite pop releases of the year, up there with Hachi and the So Baby Girl album as well, which I did review. That has actually only grown on me since I reviewed it as well. Forever or Whatever has a pretty recognisable sound. You've heard this kind of brand of pop being done before. I mean, Carly Rae Jepsen has been very popular over the past few years, so I feel as though if you enjoyed that, I'd kind of struggle to see why you wouldn't at least enjoy this a little bit. It's a much shorter release though, it's more of like an EP type of length, 8 tracks, 29 minutes, just tune after tune, and like there's nothing really to these tracks you can honestly say other than they're catchy as hell tunes. The opening track actually grew on me quite a bit over time though, even though it is a pretty straightforward, catchy 80s leaning pop tune, but there was something about it that I wasn't quite getting gripped by. And similarly with Casino, I did think her vocals were a little odd on that track. The melody that she's singing in is kind of hard to get a hold of initially, but actually it ends up being a really fun track anyway. She has a very bubbly personality, she's not really afraid to say what she's thinking. The tracks aren't sassy or anything like that, but she comes through with a few one-liners every now and then that kind of make you feel like if you messed with her, she wouldn't really hold back on beating you up. She does have that funny Alex Cameron witty side to her as well sometimes on a track like Holiday Inn, where the refrain is literally you and me jacking off at the Holiday Inn, but the way she sings it is so fun. The little guitar line as well. Some Madonna-isms break through, specifically Madonna self-titled era on tracks like 17. Just something in her vocal performance just totally reminds me of that era. Then we're getting some sophisty type pop on the track Trash Can Love, another highlight on this thing. I mean, there's only 8 tracks, so really there's no room to kind of waste any opportunities, so pretty much every track here is genuinely good. Reminds me of some Christine and the Queens type stuff, just kind of sensual vibe to it. And the album that Christine dropped last year was really good as well. And even though I have just said that there's not really much room for a dud because it is really short, I do think maybe the closing track is the weakest here, not particularly an exciting one for me. The vocal performance here is a bit weird, the hook's kind of weak. Definitely decent overall, it's fine, but it's nowhere near as good as some of the best tracks here. So yeah, there's kind of not much else to say, is there really? It's just a good pop release. It's just one of those things, like, there's not much to explain here. It speaks for itself. It's catchy, it's fun, it's vibrant, it's colourful. What else is there to say? It doesn't have to be doing anything new, of course. This is essentially just replacing some of the duds in pop music I've come across this year personally, and this is a nice little void to fill for that genre. It's a highlight. Gonna go 8 out of 10. Definitely an artist that's gonna be one to watch for me, I think, from here on out. Let me know what you think if you've heard it. Thank you for watching. Do have a good day, comment, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. That'd be great. Listen to the album. Let me know what you think. Thank you. Goodbye. Have a good day.